In this video, we're going to learn how to make a bipod for a sniper rifle. Now we're going to use this bipod for the AWM sniper rifle, which we modeled in the last 4 videos of this little series. So if you haven't seen those videos yet and you want to learn how to make an entire high poly sniper rifle like this, be sure to subscribe to the channel and check those videos out. Now if you'd like to download the blend file for this sniper rifle right here or any other model that you see on my channel, I put those up on my Patreon page, so be sure to check that out as well. Now, if at any point during the tutorial you got any questions, just drop them down below and I'm going to do my best to respond to you and help you out. Now let's move down here to the bottom of the gun over here. I'm going to focus on that, and we're going to start by just adding some kind of a plane, and we're going to use that as a foundation for this bipod here. So let's add a plane. Okay, let's scale that plane down, just move it down a little. And right away we're going to have that because we're going to use a mirror modifier with this. So add a mirror modifier. And we're also going to add a solidify modifier because we want to have some thickness on this. As you can see, some of these parts, they're not just thin metal sheets, they have some thickness to them. And then we're going to work with that to create the rest of this object here. So first thing we're going to do, we're just going to extrude this and pull this forward a little bit more. Then we're going to take the edge from the side. Let's move this down a little so you can see a little bit better what's going on there. And then we're going to kind of extrude this other side here. Pull it up. Let's check even thickness. Pull it up. Okay, and let's set our pivot point back to the median point. And this is just very roughly the very basic shape of this bipod here. Maybe we can use a reference here to get the dimensions right. This is going to be the part that kind of attaches to the gun right here. Okay, so let's get the length approximately like this. Okay, now this is going to be the central part here. And now we can maybe take, let's say we can take this part here, extrude it out forward a little bit, maybe add some loop cuts. We're not going to add any loop cuts yet because we're going to want to bevel this a little bit better. But we're going to extrude it out a little, scale it down, extrude it out a little more, and then we kind of want to curl this part downwards and outwards. Okay, so we're going to extrude the whole face, but don't worry because we are going to delete these two parts and fill this face back in, correct the normals, and we're going to kind of bevel this a little bit like that. And this gives us that kind of curling shape that we need there. Now we're going to have another layer that goes, oh, this is the same layer. There's just another part stuck onto this. So we're going to add that later. But for now, we're going to take this edge over here, which is going to start somewhere around here. We're going to use that to extrude out this nice part which holds the leg. Now again, I'm probably not going to get this completely right, but that's okay. Because as long as we get it kind of right, that's totally fine. I'm going to extrude it again to prevent too much clipping from happening there. Extrude it again there. Pull it down a little more. Separate this a little bit more perhaps. And we're also going to bevel that a little bit better. Like so. And then let's look at this from side view. Something like that. So this is going to be the rounded part in the front here. And we're going to do that by... We can't bevel this at this point because it's only a vertex. Oh yes, we can. Of course, we can just set the offset type to vertex, increase the number of segments, and we're also going to increase the width there, like this. Increase the segments like 9 right there. And we're going to do the same thing to this vertex. Okay, vertex, 7 segments. So it's going to be a little bit more narrow, something like that. And that's going to be the shape holding down the leg. That's perfect. Now maybe we can also rotate his face a little bit. And let's make it face downwards a little bit more, like that. Maybe not that much. Okay, something like that's going to do it. Okay. Scale it up just a little. And now we have the foundation. Now we can start attaching our legs and maybe some of these other parts back here. But what we have to do is we need to take another face back here. So we're going to extrude this edge, pull it backwards a little. Pull it backwards a little, and make it like so. Okay, and we can also bevel this a little more. And then we're going to take this, extrude it again, and give it just a little bit more width. A little bit more width, which we're going to expand from the 3D cursor down here at this point. Okay, like this. And also we're going to do the same thing from the other side, so let's do those two simultaneously. Extrude that out, like this. Something like that. Okay. Now I can take these vertices, give them a bevel, Give them a bevel like that. And we're going to leave it at that. And this is going to be the part holding the spring, which is going to hold the leg of the bipod. All right. That's kind of counterintuitive because we're working, kind of mirror this thing as we're working here, but that's all right. Now, what else do we have to do here? We're not going to focus on any of the stuff here underneath, which attaches it. We can maybe just roughly get a shape, get the shape that we have here in the end, but we're not going to focus on that now. For now, what we do need is another little object hanging down here in the middle, which is going to come out of the front here. Okay, let's take that, narrow it down a little, and push it out a little bit more. I'm going to push it down, and then towards the end, as it goes down a little bit more, we're going to give it this kind of a wider shape. It's something like this, I believe. I'm going to add a bevel to this. We're also going to add a bevel to this vertex over here. Make that a little wider. Something like this is going to cut it. Maybe we can do it all the way. I think this looks pretty good. And also possibly a bevel right there. Now maybe we should just pull this entire shape down a little more. And now we can go ahead and add this other little piece in the middle. I think for now we should apply our mirror modifier. We should apply that because we're not really going to work with this shape much more, but we're not going to apply the solidify modifier because if we apply that, it's going to be hell if we want to change anything. So let's also kind of bevel these vertices a little. Okay, with just 3 bevels like that. And then we're going to go over here in the middle and add a plane to that. Okay, 90 degrees like this. Like this. And maybe we're going to use a cube here. That wouldn't make much sense because we're still going to use a solidify modifier again on this. Scale that all the way down. Add a solidify modifier there. Something like this. We have this little part sticking out. Okay. Little part sticking out through here. And then we're going to insert a face there for the hole. Okay. And then we're going to bevel. We're going to bevel these edges a little. Like that. Something like that is going to do it. Okay. And then we can scale this up. Scale this up. We're not going to use a bevel there. We're just going to take this shape, shoot it out a little more. Shoot it out through here. Through here. And then over here we cannot really see what's going on, but we can just imagine it's something like maybe it connects up to the rest of the shape here and sticks through and creates this part. Now if there's anybody who's really knowledgeable about bipods, they're probably going to be able to tell me that this is completely inaccurate what I'm doing here and this doesn't make any sense at all. But thankfully for my model here, it really doesn't matter. The only important thing here is that it looks good and somewhat realistic. So as far as I'm concerned, that's all we need here. Have this part sticking out here. Maybe we'll have another face, another part sticking out from this side. Okay. Pull it out here. Pull it out like this. This one should be a little bit higher, I believe. And then we're going to bevel these. Okay, bevel these 2 vertices. Make that a little wider, as wide as it goes. And we're going to take all that up a little further. Like that. And now let's just pretend that this is all we need to have here. And now let's get busy with the legs here. Okay, so let's first create one leg down here. 3D cursor. And of course, we're going to add a circle with about 32 vertices. Scale that down and let's see how long we need this to be. Okay, let's bring it up here. And make it about this first. Make it a little bit more narrow. About this width at first. And we're going to make it a little bit more narrow. So we're going to duplicate it there, scale it down a little, make it a little bit more narrow until it gets down to this part, where after this part it's going to get narrower again. Okay, so duplicate it again, make it narrower once again, and then we take it down all the way to the foot, at which point it turns into another different shape, a wider cylinder. Okay, we take that all the way down, and then it's really up to us how much detail we want to invest into this. Okay, so I'm going to make it as detailed as I can, because why not? I'm going to make this part here, and I'm going to scale this outwards I'm going to scale this all the way outwards, like this. Okay, and then I'm going to kind of try to bevel this part a little bit. And I'm also going to bevel this edge, like this. Okay, now at the bottom here, of course, we have this last bit, which, as everything else, we're also going to bevel a little bit. Okay, so we're going to bevel this part, and we're going to bevel this part. Like that. Okay. Now over here, we're going to make a little hole for this. Make a little hole down the middle. We're going to push this leg in through that hole. Okay. And we're also going to bevel the edges on that. Now let's have a look what other details we need to create here. Let's start with this little piece down here. Okay. So somewhere at the bottom of this leg, we have a little plane. A little plane which we're going to scale down to something like this. Something like this. And then we're going to add a solidify modifier to that one more time. This time only about 0.007, let's say. Or even less than that, 0.004. 0.004. We can pull that over here and just extrude it downwards a little here. Even thickness is very important here. I'm gonna bevel this edge. Okay. And we're also gonna bevel the vertices. Okay, vertices width. Let's not go as far as it goes, but let's just take it to something reasonable like this. Okay. I think that's okay. Now, we're not going to go as far as making these little ridges here. That's really an unnecessary level of detail, I believe. But underneath this little shape here, we have something slightly different hugging this leg over here. So let's take this circle, separate that. And let's take this upwards a little. Okay. Let's scale that up. Shoot it into a cylinder. And then we're going to take a couple of faces on the side here. Couple of faces on the side here, and we're going to extrude those outwards and flatten them out. Okay. We're going to dissolve the faces here, dissolve the faces here, and we're going to dissolve the faces here on top. Dissolve all those faces. Now we still have some leftover vertices from that. We're going to dissolve those vertices too. Or we can just bevel that a little bit more, just in case necessary. And we're going to add a circle there with 16 vertices because this is a very small and invisible detail. Okay, like that. Going to extrude that outwards one more time. And then extrude it inwards and make it a kind of screw that holds it there, whatever this part is. This is going to be holding it there. There we go. Now, we don't want to join this yet because this still has a solidify modifier. But we want to bring this together. I'm going to apply the modifier and then merge this. And then merge this with the rest of the leg. At this point, we need to add a spring for the leg over here around the base. And for that, we're once again going to be using our screw modifier. Okay. So over here in the middle, we're going to add a circle. Circle with, let's say, 12 or even 8 vertices is going to be sufficient here. Scale that all the way down. Then in edit mode, so that we keep the origin in the middle here, I'm going to rotate this, and we're going to pull it out to the side. And that way, when we apply a screw modifier, it's going to wrap it around itself nicely. And we can set a nice little distance of 0.01 or something, or 0.1 even. That's a little too much. Let's say 0.02. We're going to do that a couple of times, 2 or 3 times. Of course, we're going to have to bring this a little closer to the middle there. A little closer to the middle a couple of times until it gets to the top there, but I think I'm going to pull everything upwards a little bit. I'm going to pull everything upwards here a little bit, so let's just bring this up a little, shorten the spring with that. And we have that spring over there. Now we have another spring that we're going to have to make over here. And we're going to do that similarly. Okay, so cut the parent disc of the leg. And then we're going to go ahead and add another little plane here. Okay, small plane right there. Scale it all the way down. And then we're going to extrude. Of course, we're going to have to add some solidity to this. Again, 0.007 0.04 is going to be sufficient here. I'm going to extrude this side out, bring it up a little, even thickness. Bring it up a little, okay, a little bit more perhaps. And then we're going to insert a face here. Insert a face here, which we're going to make it so it's kind of like a square hole right there. Okay, something like that. Maybe, just maybe, we can replace this hole with a proper circle, because why not? Right? I'm going to place a little octagon right there. Circle, align with view. Okay. And we're going to scale that to 0.01. Scale it all the way down. I'm going to bevel these two vertices. Bevel these two vertices, apply that right there. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. We're only going to use two vertices. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Perfect. That's perfect for us right now. Because then we can just extrude these vertices and delete this face. And we can perfectly join this together with the circle, okay? Which if we face, we're going to have to rotate a little bit. Just a little bit like that. Okay. And then we can just merge all these faces together. Like this. We delete this, and we go back to our solidify modifier, which we're only going to use 0.004. And we're going to apply that. And now we're finally going to make this spring which attaches this to this part. So first of all, we have to attach the leg to the bipod. Okay, smooth shading. And of course, auto smooth. And we're going to bring this to this front part. The front part of the bipod, somewhere around here is where it's going to connect. Okay. So we're going to snap that over there. Let's try to figure out what the angle here is. Okay. We can do that by extruding a face here. And then we open up some edge data and see which one's going to give us the angle right here. The face angle. This is not going to be the face angle. This is going to be rather... This is not going to cut it either. But we're going to need to use, say, edge angle. And this is 66. That's 66 degrees. Which one is that? Okay, if we use our 3D cursor over here, figure out exactly what's going on here. 0 degrees, and this is 180. 66 degrees. What happens? I'm not sure exactly what this is measuring. Okay. So if you rotate this by 66 degrees that way, it's almost perfect. 66.9. Okay. 66.9. Except we're going to rotate it by -90 because we want it to go the other way. Perfect. Like this. And then I'm going to use the local axes like this. Just to push this into place. Put it back right there. And now we can get rid of this face. We don't need that anymore. We can remove our measurement data. Okay. And now we just need a screw over here. We're going to use the same screw that we created over here on the barrel. Okay, so we're going to snap that down there. And we're going to remove all the rotational, transformational data for this object. So we're going to set everything to 0, 0, 0. And we already know that we have to rotate this by 66, or first by 90 degrees and then 66.9 degrees. So that it perfectly is aligned with this face here. Okay. I'm going to scale everything up, make it a little thicker and more round, as it should be. And then we're going to just bring it so that it's kind of holding the leg there. And we're just going to scale it up. Scale it up to the right size, something like that. Alright. Now, this also brings us to the other side here, where we also need a screw. The same screw, in fact. So we're going to duplicate this screw and take it over there. And we're going to rotate this one by 180 degrees. Push it down a little. Push it down a little, and we're also going to just give this one a little base to hold on to, like that. Okay. Now I can join all those together with the rest of the leg, and that should be parented to this part. Okay. Now it's time that we made a mistake because we placed this at this part, this side, but it should be on this side because we're looking at a mirrored image over here. That's all right. We'll just bring it over here. And then we need to have a little cylinder over here on this face. Okay, so align our view with that. Add a circle with about 12 vertices. I have to redo that because we want our face aligned with that. So circle with about 12 vertices. Align that with our view. And then scale it way down. Way down until we get just the right size there. Okay. Okay, and I'm going to scale that. Extrude that inwards. And we're going to join that. No, we're not going to join that there. And add some smooth shading to that. Shade smooth, auto smooth, 45 degrees, all that. And then finally, we're going to add another spring here. Let's make that spring. First of all, we're going to make a little guideline just so we know what we have to follow. I'm going to take this vertex here. I'm going to extrude that and bring it to our 3D cursor around here somewhere. So this is the line that our spring has to follow, roughly. So now we have to take 3D cursor down here and add another circle. We're going to use the same technique we just used a moment ago to make the other spring. Okay. We're going to bring this outwards a little, scale it down, and use a screw modifier. Where's my screw modifier? Right over here. And of course, it should be a lot smaller and a lot narrower. Scale this down even more, like this. Something like that's going to cut it. And then the screw is going to be 0.01 meters. And we're going to have, let's do a little bit less than that, 0.06. That looks reasonable to me. And maybe we're going to make it just a little bit narrower, a little bit thinner, a little bit smaller, okay, like that. And then we're going to use, I think I'm going to make it just a little bit smaller still, okay, like that. And instead of 6, I'm going to put 5. And now I'm going to use whatever number of iterations we're going to need here, which I think is going to be approximately 50. A little bit more than that. Let's try 60. 60. Okay, let's slowly bring this into the right angle, like so. And also from the front, we need to bend it like this. And then we're going to have to make a little gap there. So 60 and a few, 65. Let's just say 65 right there. And rotate it a little more like this. A bit less than 65 is going to be fine. Just so it doesn't clip through anything. Okay. And then what we can do now is apply the screw modifier. Apply the screw modifier, remove any doubles. And then let's go over here, zoom in on this part. And this is the part that should kind of hook around the rest of the object here. To go something like this. Let's undo that. Rotate this spring a little bit. Okay, like this. So I can just go all the way around here quite comfortably. Take this part. Okay, something like this. And then maybe I should have used a curve modifier to get this part correctly. But thankfully, this is a part that we really don't care about that much because it's probably the most minuscule detail on the entire model. We're just going to leave it at something like this for now. And we're going to do the same thing down here. Okay. Same exact story. Just kind of make it curve around here. Okay, just extrude it out one by one, piece by piece. Bring it a little bit closer so it kind of hugs that. Kind of, right? That's all that matters here. We're going to bevel this a few more times just to give it a few more iterations there. And we're pretty much good to go. Okay, I'm going to parent that to our bipod as everything else. And we really only need a couple more details in the front here. For instance, this little screw that holds everything together. Okay, I'm not even going to bother with a screw modifier there. I'm just going to use some circles and some cylinders to kind of extrude this part out like so. I know there's a bit of clipping there, but I don't care. Another circle with 16. Okay, scale that. Okay, like so. I'm going to bevel that a little more. And this is that other little detail we have there. Now, just to wrap everything up, I'm also just going to add a little ring here that we can see over there. We're going to add a little torus, maybe. Mesh, torus. Major segments, minor segments. I want 32 or 24 even. 24 and 8. It's going to be good enough for me. Maybe even 20 and 8. 16 and 8. Perfect. Minor radius is going to be 0.12. And there's that. Okay. Let's scale that down all the way. Scale that all the way down, and then we're going to use a 3D cursor to put that into place. Okay. Rotate 90. Shade smooth. And put it right there. Okay, this too. Shade smooth. 45. We're going to merge all this together, and then we're going to collectively take care of all the shading. That's pretty much all we need there. Let's also just quickly add another little cube here. Another little cube right here. I'm going to use this cube to just kind of bridge this together. Okay. Let's scale this part up a little more. Like this. I have no idea what this part is supposed to be, but it's there in my reference, so I'm just going to place it there. And now we can go ahead and apply. Let me see if we missed anything major. I don't think we have. Go ahead and apply our solidify modifier. We're going to shade that smooth. And then we're going to merge everything else except the legs and the spring, because if we ever want to detach those, that's going to be quite painful. We're going to merge all the other stuff with this. Let's apply all the other modifiers as well here. We have a couple other pieces with some modifiers on them. I think we're good. So let's merge everything to this central piece. Merge everything together. Okay. Shade everything smooth. And then we're going to turn on auto smooth at about 45 degrees. About 45 degrees, and just pull this down to prevent the clipping. And now we just still have to mirror this to the other side. Let's join this. We're going to merge this as well. We're even going to merge a spring with the entire leg. This should have been part of this, I believe. So let's just duplicate that to the other side and merge it. And now we just have to duplicate the leg. -1. Correct the normals and everything. We have a bipod pretty much ready to go. Thanks for watching, and I hope you found this tutorial helpful. Be sure to subscribe to the channel if you want to see more videos like this. Let me know down in the comments if you want to see a tutorial on how to texture this sniper rifle. And I hope to see you guys in the next one.